Welcome to the Hooligan Nation, a KISS-Centric podcast. I'm Anthony.
And I'm Rocco.
Yes, you are. Welcome to our version of As the KISS World Turns, where we discuss KISS current events, rumors, news, and interviews with current and past members. Strap in, crank it up, and let's talk KISS. Hi, Father Rocco. Thank you. You know where we're going to start today?
Let's start at the beginning.
Yes, like always, just because you want it that way, we're going to start at the beginning, but we're going to start by being like two little demons. And we're going to start this episode off with merchandising.
Okay.
Hey, Gene, see what I did there?
Hey, Gene or hygiene?
Oh, no, we're not going to do hygiene again. No, we did that last week. We're going to stay with Hey Gene this week instead of hygiene.
Okie dokie.
But of course, KISS Online rolled out some interesting stuff for the 50th anniversary of Alive. It's t-shirts, you know, of course, a CD, couple vinyl records. I like the fact that they're selling the vinyl Germany edition of Alive, where they've changed the Lightning S in KISS. They changed it to the backwards Z's in KISS, and they're selling that. That'll only cost you $27. And they got a pretty 1, 2, 3, 4. They got 8 shirts, 8 t-shirts. And here's the funny thing, the beauty of editing. I will throw this up there so everybody can see. It starts with 4 t-shirts at the top. One for Peter, one for Ace, one for Paul, and one for Gene. And they're pretty cool t-shirts, and it says KISS, and then it has a picture of the band member, and then it says Alive on the bottom. Those are very cool shirts, by the way.
Expensive or?
Yeah, well, that's where I'm going with that. $45. Okay. But down on the bottom, there's 4 more t-shirts. And I'll be the first to admit, they're not as cool looking to me as the 4 on the top. But they're relatively the same t-shirt. They're all one-sided. The t-shirts on the bottom are only $30. Which makes me ask, where do they come up with these prices?
Yeah. Where are you getting $15 more? Like what you getting more with the other one?
Right. I just can't figure it out. So I thought that was, I don't know. You know, when it comes to KISS merchandising, I don't know how much this stuff is newsworthy, but what I can tell you is it's always entertaining to me when I look on there and I find something like that where I go, oh, okay. So this t-shirt costs $15 more than that t-shirt. Why? Like,
You know,
if you gave me a double-sided t-shirt and you charged me $45, I don't know if I'd agree with it, but I could at least justify in my head the $15 extra if I really wanted it. They're relatively the same t-shirt. I
know
ain't
that
spending the $45.
Yeah, I mean, the older I get, I'm very specific and particular about the kind of stuff that I like concert shirts and things like that. I'm very specific about it. So like if I'm spending money, if I'm spending $45 on a shirt, it's gonna damn well be one that I like the design, and it's got to have something in the front and the back.
You mean like our newest Hooligan Nation shirt?
I'm jealous. I didn't get one yet.
Like this?
Nice.
That has one of your favorite songs on the bottom? You mean that? And look.
Oh, you mean We Are One?
Yep. And look at this, is the best part. Oh, look at that. And you know what?
Oh, okay. Do that again. Do that again because I didn't get a good look. Ah, very nice.
And you know what the best part is?
What's the best part?
It's not $45. That's the best part. And you know what? Hooligans, if if you don't agree with this, that's okay. I'm not trying to knock our illustrious Kiss or anything, but I'd prefer this shirt over the $45 shirt at Kiss Online.
Now, of course, they're going to ask how much is that one going for? Is ours going for?
It's roughly I think it's under $30. Under $30. And I don't even think it's $29.99 because I love when people do that and say it's under
Well,
$30 and
well, for
then
me
you look.
personally, paydays this week, so I'll be adding some more merch to my. There's definitely some stuff in my cart waiting.
So that's that. So oh. How was that?
Very good in my Hooligan Nation
Oh,
mug.
cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm-mm.
Mm.
Mm. Anyhow, next up, Gene Simmons on the Broken Record podcast.
All right.
Here's what I wrote in my notes. Gymnasium joke. Check. Anti-Semitic joke. Check. Other than that, I have one little piece of news to report, and it's really stretching it. If it's news, it's more, I think, me grasping for controversy, maybe. So I do my best not to do that, and I don't want to become clickbait. But Gene again called the Vegas event a fan event, which, in my opinion, completely goes against how Paul is currently trying to sell it. So I don't know if there's nothing there or if there's something there. I don't really know where to
Well, I
go
mean,
with it.
it could just honestly, it could just be two guys with two completely different philosophies of what they view it as. I mean, to me, is it like the cruise and all that stuff? It is kind of like a fan geared thing, but the way you're saying it is kind of like Gene's like, well, it's not really our thing. We're not kind of having our imprint on it, and Paul's doing the opposite.
That's how I took it. And it could be me. I that's why I always say, if you're watching us and one of us throws out an opinion, go watch it. Go watch it, form your own opinion. We're not trying to sway anybody. That's my opinion. Is when he said that, I was like, ooh.
Well, it also could be that Gene's not really super involved, and him and Paul are communicating, but Paul's kind of like handling most of what's going on. But I don't really see Gene allowing that to happen either, though.
I don't either. I look, this is completely conjecture, but it does appear to me as though Gene and Paul may be somewhat at odds.
Mm,
I don't know how deep that goes, and I don't know if that's a big deal at all.
they've
And
learned how to navigate that. I don't think that's the issue, but they do have their little things where they're not agreeable and things, but they've learned how to navigate it all these years.
yeah, so it could be something, it could be nothing. It's always good when Gene or Paul are talking publicly because it's at least somewhat entertaining.
Well,
Uh, I
the other.
I got this week's version of the gymnasium joke, so I feel like I'm complete for the week.
Well, I just want to add this. Like, it's funny. Like, I was reflecting today about how us doing this, and how I was talking to a friend of mine about how, you know, Kiss is retiring. We're doing this for fun. It probably won't be after a while. There probably won't be too much to talk about. But Gene and Paul, they completely stay in the news. The avatars, like I know we've talked about this stuff a lot, but it is kind of interesting from where we started to now. There's always almost always some kind of content that you could that's getting drawn up that's somewhat current.
Sure. I mean, I'm sure, I hope, boy, I hope, but I hope that the hooligans out there have figured out we completely changed the format of our Wednesday bonus episode because we could not keep up with the KISS current events.
Right.
Sooner or later, that's gonna slow down, I think,
Right.
but I don't think it's ever going to stop. I don't I don't. I mean, number one, Pop House paid a lot of money for the KISS brand. If anybody thinks that they're gonna put out less, that you're crazy. They're not gonna put out less. They're gonna put out more, and they're going to try to keep KISS current and relevant and in the spotlight.
The whole contract with Pop House, it fascinates the shit out of me because they're obviously still involved in some decision making. You know, they sold everything, but yet they're very much involved in this event. So there's got to be some interesting underlying written things in there to where they still have decent amount of control in certain areas.
Yeah,
Maybe don't profit as much, but they're definitely involved in some ways.
this would be a guess. It would be completely a guess by me. But my guess is, well, we're gonna get into our next subject, in which it was confirmed they have a personal services contract with Pop House. In other words, they're contracted. They're, yeah, I mean, I can't guarantee they're getting paid, but I think they're getting paid for everything that they do. That's enough for Gene. Does sound like they made a sweetheart deal. Anyway, on that note, let's get to our main topic, main subject of this episode.
Do it. No. I'm trying to loosen up here.
No? Well, I believe that that's loose enough to do a Russian split. This is the single best interview that I have seen KISS related since we started this podcast. And unfortunately, the interview was not conducted by the Hooligan Nation. So, all the credit in the world to the Shouted Out Loudcast. I would like to thank Tom and Zeus for asking the questions that no one else had the balls to ask. I thought it was a great job by them. They interviewed Doc McGhee. It's I think it's 2 weeks old. And it's not Gene and it's not Paul, and I understand that. But if you can't get any information out of Gene, which no one seems to be able to, and you can't get any information out of Paul, again, which no one seems to be able to, the third person that would have the information would be Doc McGhee. He's a very good interview.
Yeah, he's a very interesting gentleman. He's done a lot in his career.
He's arguably more interesting than Paul and Gene. When you interview Doc McGhee, you can talk about Bon Jovi, Motley Crue, Skid Row, and KISS, and others.
On that note, would you say, you know how like we're always saying they're pretty close to the vest? I don't think Doc is. I've ever seen an interview where he's close to the vest. He doesn't.
No.
He's a shoot from the hip kind of guy.
He's a very good politician, and if anybody needs to question that, just watch the interview. I don't think I brought this up before, and I don't know whether this is important or not, but it's Shouted Out Loud Cast, episode number 342 is the Doc McGhee interview. If anybody wants to go watch it. For those that don't know the Shouted Out Loud Cast, they're let's say one of the leaders of this niche. Let's be politically correct and say that. They are on YouTube in case you've been living under a rock. And I'm sure I've never listened to the podcast on Spotify or Apple or anything else, but I'm sure it's on there if it's on YouTube. So check that out. They do something that you and I are 100% incapable of doing. And that's part of the reason why I liked the interview. There is no way that I could get Doc McGhee in an interview and not start asking him questions about Bon Jovi, Motley Crue, Skid Row, all the other bands. And they pretty much, I think they 100% kept it to KISS. Now I think it was a little over an hour long. If we got Doc McGhee here,
No, not just Kiss.
oh,
Or listen, Doc, we got you for Kiss today, but you're coming back.
it would end up being a 5-hour, 5-episode series because things would be popping in my head like, hey, Doc, what happened with Motley Crue here? Hey, Doc, what did Bon Jovi do here? Hey, Doc, what is the deal with Sebastian Bach and Skid Row? There's all these questions that they're running through my head right now. I would not be able, I mean,
We always talk about how if Paul had a podcast, how many subscribers? If Doc had a podcast,
Oh
how
my
many
God.
subscribers would he have?
I'm sure Doc McGhee could get on there and it could be a one-person talking head podcast and Doc could just sit there and tell stories and he would never run out of any stories to tell.
Absolutely.
Like you talk, and I've said this before, you talk about a guy that's had a full career. I don't know of a manager that's ever had as full of a career as Doc McGhee. So let's get into this. First question that was newsworthy to me, they asked, who is KISS today? And Doc defined KISS as Gene and Paul, and in some respects, Ace, Peter, Eric, and Tommy. And I'm sure that Ace and Peter loved that. They loved Two Catman and Two Spaceman. I'm sure that they loved to be lumped in with Eric and Tommy, but that was his definition of it. And just in case anybody's wondering, that was a politically correct answer. He also confirmed there will be no touring, but one-offs and charity events are always possible. So
That makes sense with their age and everything.
Right.
That makes sense. They should be able to dictate, different things at a time.
let me ask you, Father Rocco, would you call, because I'm going to run with this until you can't run with this anymore, but I still believe that at some point you will see a KISS residency in Las Vegas. I don't know why I'm on that. So what I'm asking you is, would you consider a once a month residency in Vegas to be a series of one-off concerts? Because it's not touring. I just wonder, is that a loaded answer? Or is that just a off the hip answer?
The thing about it is, and correct me if I'm wrong. I mean,
You're wrong.
Usually,
Oh,
you got
I'm sorry.
at least let me get a little. Of that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. So usually residencies.
Oh, you're wrong. Oh no. I'm sorry again. Sorry. This is what it would be like if Doc McGhee came on this. Doc would be answering a question, and I'd be like, "Stop." Tommy Lee and Nikki Sixx, 1987. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I forgot. I don't know what the hell I was talking about. I'm just kidding. I'm just playing.
I'm the one with ADD today.
Okay, I can see that. You're pretty good at it. That's okay. I interrupt you once in a while too. So
Only once in a while.
No, listen, most of the time residencies, and correct me if I'm not going to finish that statement. Most of the time residencies have a script that they follow and it's the same, like Carrot Top. It's the same thing every night or every time they do it. Would it be a residency where maybe Bruce and like they get more of them involved and they rotate different types of things that they do once a month? I don't know how creative you can get with it and how residency would work and what format like I mean, if anybody could pull something like that off and try to make it work for to suit their needs and the way they want it, I mean, Kiss could do it. But and I'd be all for it. If they did do it and it was like a normal thing, I think me and you would probably plan a Vegas trip every year. You'd go see your Raiders football and we go to see the Kiss residency thing.
Did you bring up Raiders football?
I think I might have.
You know, the Raiders are 1-0. You know what that means, right?
I didn't know they were 1-0.
They are 1-0. They beat the New England Patriots in New England on opening day, which means that the Raiders are going to the Super Bowl.
Oh my God. I've heard this since we were kids. Hey, all I know is I didn't even set my lineup and I won my fantasy football game, so I'm good.
Yeah, whatever you do, don't watch the Giants.
Yeah, I know they lost. I
That's,
heard. I didn't see it. I'm a Giant
that
guy,
was ugly,
but
but that's a different podcast that we don't have. No, look, I don't want to make this the main topic, but I do think Kiss could do a once a month residency in Vegas. It's very little travel. It's very little beating on their body. It's very little beating on Paul's voice when he gets a month to recover. And the best part of it is exactly what you brought up, is I think it would be great. And I say this all the time, but I could be crazy. But I think it
well,
would be
no, we've already
great.
come to the jury's already been set. You're crazy, but that's part of your charm.
That's good to know. It's good to know. I got some women in my life that would tell you that it's not charming. I think it would be great when you can in December you can have Paul, Gene, Eric, and Tommy go out there in full makeup and costume, because if they did a residency, they'd figure out a way to squeak around that. I'm sure of it. Whole stage show and everything, and do a one off. And then in January, they could do Paul, Gene, Ace, and Peter in some fashion with the same thing. And then you can go to February and you could do Paul, Gene, Bruce, and Eric Singer, no makeup, and do a completely different show. There's so many. And then in March, you could do all of them. All of them. Put them all up there, no makeup, no costumes. And, I think that was one of the best parts of Unplugged, was when they all were up there together.
That's absolutely.
The way they were. I would have liked to see more of that. I got to tell you, I'm not sure. I mean, we can't afford, you guys got to buy more shirts and coffee mugs for us to afford this, but I can't afford to go to Vegas, 4 times a year. If I had to choose at this point, I might choose all the members without makeup and costume over the original 4
It's a no-brainer for me.
in makeup and costume.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
I've seen that. But again, for those people that haven't seen it, that would be a draw for them. But there's probably more people that have never seen Eric Singer, Bruce Kulick, Paul, and Gene on stage together. So that would be another draw. And I don't know if it's a lot of work or not. I don't. But you would change the set list monthly to fit your personnel. You're not going to put Bruce up there and play Detroit Rock City and Deuce. And no, when you bring Bruce in,
You'll feature the errors.
right, I think that would be a
Listen,
great draw. And I would guess, not a 20,000 seat arena maybe, but I would guess. I mean, my dream is the Sphere because I just don't think any band can do the Sphere justice like Kiss can. But I might be biased. But a 5-10,000 seat arena once a month, oh. And I've said this. I said this in a past episode. That will do nothing but draw people to the Avatar show once the Avatar show comes out. And
yeah,
that will do nothing but drag people to Kiss Mini Golf. And what does that do? That makes them money.
yeah, I would never dismiss the idea of the residency thing.
They could all live to be 105. And there will be Kiss fans out there when they're 104 saying, I just want them to reunite one more time. It's what we are. We're
Right.
Kiss fans. That's what makes us different from everybody else.
But if you think about it, and we can go back to the very first reunion, we usually get what we want.
Well,
Ultimately,
we usually get what we want because we usually pay dearly for it.
That's true. That's very true.
Next up, this is not much of a shock to me, but it is greatly newsworthy. He confirmed Doc McGhee, Gene and Paul do have service agreements with Pop House. Not a shock. Maybe it was a little bit of a shock to me that Doc has one, but not a shock that Paul and Gene have one. And for some reason, my notes were off. He was asked if Tommy, Eric, Ace, Peter, I think Bruce also have agreements. And I think he answered no, but then he threw out the smoke bombs and tried to shy away from it. He ended up saying something like, I don't remember exactly what he said, but he was kind of unambiguous about whether they have them or not. And I'm guessing that they don't because, well, I'm guessing that that's probably what they're working on currently with Eric Singer.
Right.
That's my guess. But
he did say that he has a contract, didn't he? Like
Doc said
he was included in that.
Doc said he has a contract. He did not give a yes or no black and white answer over Eric Singer, Tommy Thayer, Ace Frehley, or Peter Criss.
But he did include him as one of the members still.
No, yes, he did say in some respect they are KISS. He was really good. I mean, he should run for public office. Thank you. Tom and Zeus, thank you. You're my heroes. When asked directly, and they said exactly what we have said. They said to Doc, if we don't ask you this question, the fans will go crazy. And then they asked directly about Eric Singer. Doc responded and said, everyone is part of the mix. You will be surprised, and we will see what happens. That was his answer.
Yeah, it's pretty slick.
It's a non-answer, but you got to stop looking at the answer. Got to give credit to Tom and Zeus for asking the question that no one else asks. Doc didn't answer that question.
He took the answer and he spun it.
Yeah, and there's that is what happens after you manage Motley Crue, Bon Jovi, and KISS. Boy, you learn how to spin things in every direction.
Yeah, there needs to be a biography on him, a documentary biography.
Yes. Actually, yes, I'll agree with that. Interesting statement. Very interesting. Again, I'm not sure, and I don't remember the context of it, but Doc said this is not a money grab. A lot of us are doing this for free. Now, no, Gene is not doing it for free. You know what? Paul is not doing it for free. No, maybe Doc is. I think he's a fool if he is. And I don't really think anybody's doing it for free. But hey, I appreciate the fact that Doc threw it out there.
It's too gray of a response that I wouldn't put stock either way on that.
No,
You're not really giving me anything there.
Ain't nobody doing that for free.
Yeah,
I can tell you right now, you ain't getting Ace and Peter to do it for free. All right, next.
Ooh, nice mug.
Mm-hmm.
You got coffee in that?
Mm-hmm.
It tastes really good coffee, really good brewed coffee in that.
Mm-hmm. Keeps my coffee at a perfect temperature for long periods of time.
Is that available on the website too?
It is.
Nice, with the shirts and all that stuff.
It is. When it's so cool because when I look into my coffee, there's a happy face in my coffee because it's in my Hooligan Nation coffee cup.
Listen, hooligans, we're going to be as corny as we can to get that shilling out there. Get that. Then we'll move on to the next thing.
Oh, kids, you don't understand. The baby needs shoes. Mama needs teeth.
Yeah, that scientist works pretty damn hard.
We got a couple more here. First one was he mentioned that there is a new 5-part documentary coming out in early 2026. Didn't really get into it, just threw it out there. I felt as though I was salivating a little bit because I'm not sure. There's so many documentaries on KISS. I don't know how anybody can come up with a new way to spin it, but
that's not the Paul thing, though, right? Because the Paul thing's not the Paul thing, but that actor, it's a totally different ballgame.
This what he's talking about is a 5-part documentary, and I'm guessing I could be wrong about this, but I'm guessing it's like a Netflix thing. Cool. Netflix has been putting out documentaries. They just put one out on the Dallas Cowboys, 8 parts, and I think Apple put one out on the Patriots like last year that was 8 or 10 parts. Both were really, I thought they were really good. So maybe it's the same kind of idea as that, but he threw it out there.
Well, like you, I'm a very big fan of documentaries. I mean, it depends on which ones, but I like documentaries too. So
yeah, I even like bad ones actually. But he was asked about the much talked about and anticipated biopic. He advised that it will be about the first 4 years of KISS, which I think I've heard before. But he was asked in you know, who's going to portray him in the biopic, I think the question was, and he said that he's not in it because it's the first 4 years of KISS. He was also asked, is there a possibility of KISS doing a Back to the Beginning type show? He broke my heart and answered, I don't think it will happen. Now, Doc, if you're watching this, you have class and taste. But if you guys decide to change your mind, I do have a great idea for the KISS Back to the Beginning concert. I got it all taken care of. And finally, Doc was asked, is there a possibility of all 4 original members showing up in Vegas? And Doc responded, Father Rocco, can I have a drum roll? Thank you. Doc responded, you said it. Ha ha. Now,
that guy's good.
Doc's not an idiot.
No.
My first thought, and this was my first thought was, holy shit, all 4 of them are going to be in Vegas. And then my common sense kicked in, and I said, wait, that's Doc McGhee. They sold at least 250 more rooms in the Virgin Hotel just by him saying that. Because crazy KISS fans, I'm not a crazy KISS fan, Well, I guess I am. I already bought the ticket before that, but crazy Kiss fans. I bought the ticket before anybody was going. Crazy Kiss fans, I guarantee you ran out there and said, "Oh my God," same thing I did. "Oh my God, all four of them are going to be there. I'm going. That's it." It took me a few minutes, and then I was like, "Yeah,
You're
I'm
like,
not going to take his word for it."
music business.
Right, right. Either way, I do think there's a possibility, and I've said this before. I do think there's a possibility.
Yeah, but it's bad business to say no, they won't be.
Right. He's not going to say no, and he did not answer it, but he did lead us all on to believe that it was a possibility. Hey,
Okay.
one more time. Good job by Doc McGhee. Whatever Gene and Paul pay Doc McGhee, I can tell you right now it's not enough. He's
Right.
worth much more. So that's what we got for this week. Father Rocco, do you have anything you'd like to add?
No, the closer we get to going to Vegas, the more excited I am about it. Um, and he's going to be one of the guys getting interviewed. Was that on the table too? I know that Eddie Kramer
Yes.
and but is it Doc's going to get interviewed too?
Yes, it's in the schedule for I believe it's Gene Paul and Doc McGee one time, and then I think it's Doc McGee on his own another time.
Cool. I'm definitely a fan of his, so that's cool.
So and I thought he whooped up a little more excitement for Vegas just because of the unknown. Yeah, and it could be nothing, and honestly, it probably is nothing, but just the 1% chance of all these things that could happen kind of whipped me up to build a little more excitement to where we're going to show up there at that hotel Friday morning and I'm going to be like, look out for Ace, he's here somewhere. Is that Peter?
Oh, look at Peter. He's having a cup of coffee over by the bar.
Right. I mean, I look, if you're Doc McGee, that's mission accomplished to me.
To me, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever for Peter not to try to get a little piece of that. I know that his album that's coming out is not a money grab for him. It's more about a personal endeavor or whatever. But to me, it makes absolutely no sense for him not to be a part of it to try to have more attention to the album that's going to be coming out.
If you're listening to us on any of the podcast platforms, please leave us a review. And if you just found us, check out our past episodes. If you're watching us on our YouTube channel and you like this episode, please consider hitting the like button, just like Father Rocco, and leaving us a comment. Hit that subscribe button, just like Father Rocco, so you don't miss any future episodes. And check out these episodes right here. As always, if you made it this far, thank you for supporting us. And don't forget, if it's too loud, you're too old. Peace out, Hooligan Nation.